Well, welcome back to Gigtirement. And we're going to keep moving forward with tightening things up here. I can see why Flipwise exists, because there's just no easy way to get at some data. Now, I don't see anywhere in Flipwise that tracks refunds. I'm going to have to log in, so we'll just skip that. But I was going through it here last night, and I didn't see anything in terms of showing where I had issued a refund. So maybe that's something I'm going to have to just simply put into the ledger. So we'll have to check that out. Well, let me just go ahead and sign in. All right, so here we are in Flipwise. Yeah, I see returned, so I don't see any kind of, I see all sold. I wonder if, I see, so we may have to add a new one, add a general expense or a credit. But I also need to credit the account, so let's go ahead and add a new ledger entry for a credit. So basically what that's showing us here is that we had an $18.95 expense against the $18.95 income, and it's showing that we had a $3.23 income against the $3.23 expense. So I mean, it really should just zero out. But the thing about it in terms of the net revenue, or I guess the net profits as it bears out, or even the gross profits, I suppose, are going to reflect the shipping, and so we should still see the expense associated with shipping the item to California. So let's just go to our sales and inventory. Our income statement should have changed, yeah, because I had, I was to the good by like $2 and some cents before I made that journal entry. But so that is what we're doing there. So I'm still, kind of feeling my way around Flipwise, and but what I want to do now is I need to go in here and I need to change that. All right, so that should show up here as a refund, and it does. And in terms of what I paid for it to bring it in and what I'm going to charge for it on retail listing, that all will become necessary at tax time. So with this, and it was quite something to build out, and I can still go over here to my weekly, and I can add in the source, but I can also add in here refunds, and so there's a lot of data that I can pull from this. But the question is, do I want to spend any more time really trying to refine this? I can see getting to the end of the year and going, oh my goodness, what a mess. So what I am opting to do is install QuickBooks. And so I've had this copy of QuickBooks, and I have it on another machine. The other machine that I have it on is very, very slow, and I've just decided, hey, you know what, I'm going to do a clean install over here and be good with that. So let's see. Okay, I need to put this info in here. We'll see how this goes, but I'm going to have to do well, okay. 184. Okay, there we go. Yeah, I'm going to install that, sure, why not? So this is what we're going to do. I'm going to have to put the data in somewhere in terms of inventory, and I can continue to put it in here, but like I said, I can imagine it being an absolute mess once we get to the end of the year and we need to compile this all for taxes. So I can set this up in QuickBooks. I can put my inventory right into QuickBooks. This isn't the newest version of QuickBooks, so I don't believe it's going to have the kinds of online support that you get with the monthly subscription versions out these days. But I think it will certainly streamline things for me in terms of tracking my cost of goods, my inventory, which is needed to calculate out my cost of goods at the end of the year for tax purposes. And I can set up, the types of inventory controls that are necessary. Am I going to go with average cost? Am I going to go with first in, first out? Am I going to go with last in, first out? And it maybe doesn't really matter all that much, but one way or the other that you do it will impact what your taxable income is at the end of the year, and you will have to determine how you're going to track that. So when it comes tax time, it's prepared properly for the accountant to deal with. Now, the other thing that I think may impact how you do your cost of goods and your inventory is whether or not you're on a cash basis or an accrual basis. So there are some advantages and disadvantages of doing either, but you have to choose one. You can't, treat it as a cash basis and then come tax time, switch on over to an accrual basis. But again, I'm not an accountant, and this isn't financial advice of any sort. So you'll have to, speak to your accountant to determine, how to move forward best for you. I mean, it all varies depending on what you're doing. And I have multiple businesses, so I can set up multiple businesses in QuickBooks, so that's not a problem. But for the purpose of my eBay empire building venture, I am going to start using QuickBooks to see if this will help me become a little more efficient in terms of tracking inventory, managing inventory, and able to identify how to control costs associated with that inventory, because I'll be able to generate some reports that will say, hey, your inventory, current inventory cost of goods is such that your margins are this, right? So I might be able to say I'm spending too much to get my items in because I'm not getting the margins I'm looking for on my sales. So those are some of the things that QuickBooks should provide ready access to in terms of reporting and those types of things. So we're gonna move forward with it. So I'm gonna continue to use Flipwise, but I am, as I'm, kind of ferreting all of this out and experiencing it firsthand, I'm seeing that unless you're willing to drop a good portion of money into bringing in inventory, such as units that have a real nice net sales number, larger ticket items. So for example, something that you're bringing in that costs $200, $100, $150. Well, here I can show you one of the items I was recently looking at. I was looking at a lot of air conditioning units. And so my unit cost of goods to bring those in was going to be $116.83. Now I can net out a decent amount, but I have to tie up a total of about $1,400 to bring that inventory in. Now, in this little spreadsheet here, I have a little break even for myself on this lot purchase. And my break even point is 4. So of the 12 items I bring in order to get my costs, all my costs back out, I need to sell 4 units. Now, am I going to sell 4 units in the first month? Who knows? But over here, my net per unit, and I've broken it down by the different unit prices because they're all different. I don't know why that's not the AC. The names just are in here as something else. So that's irrelevant. So, but the net, see how easily distracted I am? I got to tighten this up. So the net per unit is calculated out here, and then I extend out both the gross and the net, and on the different types of units, this is what we would be looking at. I just want to see, is that correct? That's calculating out that. Yep, okay. So my net overall looks nice. That's net. So, hey, but how long is it going to take me to realize that? And most importantly, how long is it going to take me to sell the break-even units, right? How long is it going to take for me to sell 4? So in any event, that is that. But I believe that with QuickBooks, I will be able to kind of, all of this data right here, right? All of this information is going to be in QuickBooks. And it's going to be in a format that I just simply need to have QuickBooks open. An item comes in, or 2 or 10, depending on what it is. If they're single items, I can just add a quantity to the inventory. So if I would have gotten those 12 air conditioner units, I had 3 different SKUs for those. I ended up not bringing those in because I didn't want to spend $1,400 and come out of pocket for that. I want to grow the business first so that I can start coming out of the business for those costs of goods, and I want to grow it in that manner. So that means, as much as I want to minimize the SKUs in my inventory, initially I'm going to have a higher quantity or a larger quantity of SKUs in order to start generating revenue and start generating funds for then going out and purchasing some of these larger ticket items that I want. Because then I can sit on the inventory, and if my break-even point doesn't happen in that first month, I'm okay. I'm not struggling to regain those expenses. I mean, personally, like if I personally went out there and purchased those, I can assign a portion of my or all of my contribution to the business as owner's equity. So if I went and spent $1,500 on air conditioning units, I would be contributing $1,500 as owner's equity. The business then goes out and buys the units for $1,500, and that's that. Now, as the business realizes the revenue from those items when they're sold, and the break-even point is reached, then that means there's $1,500 in there that the owner can take back out as his equity back to themselves personally. So then they'll realize that they've themselves broken even. So, but instead of putting myself personally in that situation, of course, then my objective would be to get to a point where I've got $1,500 cash on hand, right? As some say in the investing world, dry powder. You've got ready, dry powder to use whenever an opportunity presents itself. So it's not tied up, it's liquid, it's literally available to do something with. And so again, by the end of the first quarter, with my goal being $500 a month, wanting to have average $500 a month, that means, now that's net sales, that doesn't necessarily mean I'll have $1,500 of net profit. So maybe my goal should be adjusted to reflect that, so that I'm setting myself up to have retained earnings of $1,500, in my dry powder keg that I can go out then and spend on something else. So, we're just feeling our way through all this. I've never run a retail business before, so I have some working knowledge, but enough to be dangerous, right? Enough to probably shoot myself in the foot, if nothing else. And, I certainly don't want it to impact anyone else but myself, right? Nobody wants to be in that position where, you extend yourself out on credit, and you're unable to pay that credit, and now all of a sudden, you default on that credit. That means that the creditor doesn't get theirs back, and yada, yada, yada. But we're not going to get into all that. But, whether or not they're actually, loaning us any money is another question altogether. But in any event, just an update on what I'm doing in moving the eBay empire building venture forward for my Gigtirement. So again, thanks for tuning in, and until I see you next time, happy hunting.